Hey guys, in this video we're going to be doing a full comparison of the HTC One and the Apple iPhone 5. Starting this off with the display on each phone, the HTC One on the left has a 4.7 inch 1920 by 1080p full HD display, which means it has 468 pixels per inch packed into that display, and it is a really beautiful phone. The display is absolutely gorgeous. It's the best looking display that I've ever used on a phone. And I also tested it out daylight viewing. I walked into the sun to see if I could still see the display on the HTC One, and it turned out just fine. I could see the screen. It was plenty bright. It was definitely better than the iPhone 5. The iPhone 5, on the other hand, has a 4-inch display, which is 1136 by 640 pixels, and this is considered a Retina display. It has 326 pixels per inch, and the daylight viewing on this is okay. It's nothing great. I can walk into the sun, and I can barely read the screen on it, but it's still readable, but it's not as good as the HTC One in daylight viewing. The CPU on the HTC One is a 1.7 GHz quad-core processor. It has a micro SIM slot, and it also has 2 GB of RAM. The battery is a 2300 milliamp battery, and you can tell that the 2 stereo speakers on there are powered by HTC Boom Sound and Beats Audio, and they have built-in amplifiers, and they are really good. They sound awesome. This also has a 4 ultra-pixel camera with LED flash, and on the front you get a 2.1 megapixel camera. Both are capable of recording in 1080p. This phone weighs 5.04 ounces, and for connectivity you get Bluetooth 4.0, 802.11ac Wi-Fi with 2.4 and 5 GHz bands, and you also get NFC and GPS with it. And for the carriers, this is used for GSM networks, and you get LTE, and the call quality is great. The iPhone 5 uses a 1.3 GHz Apple A6 dual-core processor. It also has a nano SIM card. It comes in 16, 32, or 64 gigabytes of storage, and it also has 1 GB of RAM compared to the 2 GB on the HTC One. It also has a 1440 milliamp battery, which is also lower than HTC One, and it does have a built-in speaker, but it's nothing like the HTC One's boom sound and their stereo speakers. The iPhone 5 also has an 8 megapixel camera with an LED flash on the rear, and it also has a 1.2 megapixel front-facing camera. Both of these are also capable of 1080p recording. The iPhone 5 weighs 3.95 ounces compared to 5.04 ounces on the HTC One. It also has a Lightning connector instead of a micro USB connector like the HTC One, and it does have Bluetooth 4.0, 802.11n Wi-Fi with 2.4 and 5 GHz bands. It also has GPS and is available on GSM and CDMA networks with LTE, and the call quality is also fantastic on the iPhone 5. On the software side of things, the HTC One is running Android 4.1.2 Jelly Bean, and on top of that, it's running HTC Sense 5. Now, we're taking a quick look here at Blink Feed, which is new with Sense 5, and it gives you kind of a list, kind of Flipboard-like, of some recent news and stuff, and everything on this phone is really smooth. I haven't experienced any lag on the HTC One so far with my testing of the phone, but of course on the iPhone 5 we're running iOS 6.1.3, and you know, Apple's iOS is pretty much been the same over the years, and it's really smooth. Everything works perfectly well because Apple definitely has good integration between hardware and software. But the software side of this is definitely a personal choice to most people. Both of these phones run absolutely perfect. I haven't experienced any issues really with either of them. So software side of things, it really is your choice. And I know there's going to be tons of flame wars down there in the comments of people saying which one is their favorite, but both of these actually are pretty good. With the HTC One, you get Google's Play Store, which is home to over 500,000 apps. And with Apple's iPhone 5, you do get the Apple App Store, which has over 750,000 apps in their library. The HTC One does have Google Now, and the Apple iPhone 5 does have Siri. Now, these are definitely, again, another thing of personal choice. In my opinion, I think Siri is good for like creating reminders and setting notes in calendar events. Google Now is good for pretty much everything else. Google Now is faster in my testing of these phones, and I think Google Now is just, I think it's better than Siri because it can do more stuff. It shows you a list of the things that you're interested in, while Siri, you have to ask it all the time for any question you may have. Moving on over to the benchmarking performance of these phones. The Geekbench 2 scores, the HTC One easily came out on top, almost 1,000 points over the iPhone 5. It is using a lot newer processor, and it is quad-core compared to the dual-core on the iPhone 5. I also did the HTML5 browser test, and with Chrome on the HTC One, it outscored Safari on the iPhone 5, and I also did this with a stock browser on the HTC One, and it even scored higher than Chrome. Now, I did a browser mark performance as well, and the iPhone beat both Chrome and the stock browser with these performance tests. Next, we're going to be taking a look at the camera quality on both of the phones. We're going to look at the 1080p recording on each and also still pictures, so let's take a look. Alright, so that was the comparison shots between the HTC One and the iPhone 5. It looks like the HTC One has more natural pictures, but I'll let you guys decide in the comment section below on which one you think is your favorite. Anyways guys, that pretty much wraps up this video of a full comparison between the iPhone 5 and the HTC One. This is definitely more of a personal choice rather than which one is better. They're both great phones, and if you like Android, the HTC One is great. If you like iOS, then the Apple iPhone 5 is also a fantastic phone. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. Be sure to hit that like button down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.